Greetings and welcome to Northwest Missouri State University's Bearcat Arena and the commencement exercises for spring 2019. I'm Dr. Matt Walker, Associate Professor and Director of the School of Communication and Mass Media. The candidates for graduation will enter the arena soon, but I would like to first introduce our musicians. You've been listening to the Bell Tower Brass Ensemble under the direction of Maestro John Bell. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bell Tower Brass Ensemble. Please allow me to make just a few announcements before the ceremony begins today. We've got a great ceremony planned, and thank you for being a part of the celebration. Out of respect for our graduates, would you please take a moment to silence all your cell phones or other noise-making devices? For your safety, as well as the candidates, we also ask that you refrain from taking photographs in the aisles or in the area right in front of the stage. We do have a photo area on the right side of the stage for your convenience. Please feel free to use this area, but don't block the aisles or deter the graduates from returning to their seats. We thank you in advance for your cooperation. Now would you please stand as you are able for the presentation of flags. Members of the Show Me Gold Missouri Army National Guard Officer Leadership Program present today's Honor Guard. International students who represent their classmates carry the flags of their countries. They are led by Dr. Phil Hull, Director of International Involvement Center. Please remain standing for the entrance of the platform party. The platform party is led by Grand Marshal Dr. Chilo Lim, professor in the Booth School of Business. The Northwest banner is being carried by Student Senate President Asma Hassan. Ladies and gentlemen, Northwest Missouri State University proudly presents the candidates for undergraduate degrees. Our graduates today are being led by honor banner carriers Kaylee Sager for the Melvin D. and Valerie G. Booth School of Business, and Vanessa Groves for the School of Health Science and Wellness. Honor banner carriers are chosen by their school directors and discipline chairpersons for having exemplary collegiate accomplishment. Please welcome the faculty of Northwest Missouri State University.
Jack, second row.
Assisting our faculty is Dr. Sue Milikangas, professor in the School of Health, Science, and Wellness. Would you please remain standing, face the flag on the stage, and join in singing our national anthem, led by Miss Elizabeth Geyer, who received her bachelor's degree earlier this morning.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Now would you please welcome the president of Northwest Missouri State University, Dr. John Jasinski.
Well, good afternoon, Bearcats. Good afternoon, Bearcats. Oh, that's better. Good afternoon, Bearcats. Welcome to the Spring 2019 Commencement ceremonies, where we focus on you and celebrate you, our graduates-to-be. How about a round of applause for these ladies and gentlemen here? We all know every day is a great day to be a Bearcat, but it is a grand and glorious day outside, and we have a grand and glorious ceremony for all of us here in Bearcat Arena. Graduates, we do honor you today, and we really focus on your accomplishments, something that so few achieve. But I do offer Bearcat greetings to those, your loved ones that helped you get here. We welcome your family, your loved ones. We welcome our faculty and staff. We welcome our community and our alumni. And we welcome our platform party along with our guest speaker, Mr. Brian Weaver. Also, we welcome those that are watching online today, and again, those using social media. If you'd use hashtag NWGrad, we would be most appreciative. There's always something that happens at a Bearcat commencement ceremony for sure. Today's celebration is the culmination of what you've been working so hard to accomplish. Your perseverance, your grit, your resilience is coming through loud and clear today. We say a lot at Northwest, but receiving your degree is something you should not take for granted. Only about 1/3 of the U.S. population has a degree, associate's, bachelor's, master's, and so on. And so we're very proud of you for achieving that degree. And in doing so, you've learned along the way and you've connected. And you've been part of a performance culture, a culture that does focus on excellence. We do have high expectations here, and you're achieving a set of those expectations today. That culture also asks for, requests, and yes, even demands connections. We ask for our Bearcats to connect with one another, and you all have done that as you have come in as freshmen and continued on throughout your journey. You've connected with our faculty, with our staff. They, in turn, have connected with each and every one of you. You've connected back home with your parents and your loved ones. You've connected with our Northwest alumni, and they've connected back with you. We take connections in a very, very deep personal sense here at Northwest Missouri State, and I would invite you to take just a step back, sit back, and take a short look at a video that really describes those connections and those reflections.
When you come to college, you're here for something bigger than yourself. You're here to build yourself as a person. You can't go through those challenges or those difficulties and give up, because in the long run, you're going to look back again and you're going to see how much you overcame and how much you achieved in the process, and it's only going to make you want to persevere and prosper even further.
I think college is a humbling experience, not only because of football, but also like academically. Like even early on, you may have early success, but then later on, you kind of get like hit a brick wall. You're like, whoa, let me reassess the situation. Let me kind of buckle down. Let me take things a little more seriously.
I love how all of the faculty are so willing to help all the time. The professors are genuinely invested in how well we do. That's probably my favorite thing about Northwest.
I love how accepting everyone was, how everyone had the same goal for every student that came through Northwest in mind, and to place them in areas where they're going to succeed at.
No matter what you're going to connect at Northwest, there's always going to be a group to fit into. No matter how unique or diverse it is, there's always somewhere and something to fit into. You'll never feel left out here.
I just feel like we just have so much spirit, you know, like we're a very positive campus. I just feel like everybody's always like encouraging, you know. We come together no matter what, and we're just always behind each other.
College is where you find your true niche of friends, and I've had a lot of experiences with them, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we trench through those experiences together. Once you find those people, they'll be your people all 4 years.
It was my last game, and I was like, wow, I'm never gonna get to conduct in front of Bearcat Stadium ever again. I'm never gonna get to march with all my friends ever again. Those were all the people I came in with that became my best friends, and now we're all leaving, and I will never forget being with them.
College life is hard. There was just times where in the residence halls, you're just so crazy with stress, you're so tired, but you guys just do random things that are fun. There was one time where we were so stressed out about finals, we were like, okay, we're just gonna take a break and we're gonna have a marshmallow fight. So we had a marshmallow fight in the middle of our room. It was so fun.
Northwest has definitely helped me just kind of like open my eyes and experience a lot of things. They've definitely prepared me for a long life to live.
I'm a much stronger person, and I have a lot more courage to go and do things that are scary. And it's because they've shown me that, first of all, I can do it, and that I should do it.
I didn't think that I would be where I'm at now if it wasn't for Northwest. It's just given me the most opportunities that I could have ever imagined.
Northwest gave me courage to just do things that I never thought I could do.
I love Northwest because this is truly my family. My best friends are here, and we've all grown together.
Northwest has definitely helped me discover who I've become as a man.
I'm just a more confident person than I was coming in, and I love that.
The people is what makes Northwest special. It's the relationships, the people you bring along with you is what's going to stick with you far past Northwest.
I hope you'll agree that that video does show reflections and Bearcat connections, and we're so very thankful to Todd Weddle from Marketing and Communication, Brandon Bland and their staff. Please help me thank them for their work in that video. Bearcats, many Bearcats have come before you and been right here in Bearcat Arena walking through commencement. It takes so many people, and we certainly want to say thank you to those that are around you for their role. Your family members are so very important. They've been with you every step of the way, and please help me thank them for what they've done for you. And also, Bearcats, I call out our faculty and staff every single ceremony. Part of our faculty are here in the back, staff are sprinkled throughout. But I talk about those connections, and you see the stories throughout social media about them connecting. And in fact, you make the stories about our faculty and staff connecting with you. Would you please help me give a big round of applause to our faculty and staff? I personally thank our platform party, those behind me, our Board of Regents, our Northwest leadership teams, academic leaders, leaders from Faculty Senate and Staff Council and the Student Senate, our registrar, those that care deeply about you as well. Thank you, Platform Party. Before I bring Brian Weaver to the podium, I want to kind of walk through the ceremony today and give you a little bit of glimpse about who you are. So I'm going to step out here, and if we can turn to the screen up here. So after my remarks, we'll bring Brian up here, and you'll walk through the stage, and we'll do an alumni welcome. Bobby Bearcat and alumna Allison Kreifels will greet you, and then we'll kind of close the ceremonies, probably about 5 or 6 tonight, if that's okay. We can go on from there. You saw those reflections and connections, and then I'm going to give you a glimpse of who you are and commencement speaker. I do want to, next slide please, give a little bit of a challenge, I suppose. So ceremonies just aren't normal at Northwest Missouri State University. Last night, we had a marriage proposal, right? Yeah. So, you got about an hour, 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to challenge you. You've got to top that. I don't know how we're going to do it, right? But the stories at each ceremony are pretty prolific, and a lot of that's because of who you are and from where you've come. And let's talk about the class. 1,062 represents the largest graduating class in the history of Northwest Missouri State University. And how about someone who's 20 or 58 who graduate? Congratulations to them, too. And yeah, you can give them a round of applause. That's a good thing, right? I think all but 5 states are represented. And if you look on the next slide from an international perspective, you see our 85 international students from a variety of countries, and we thank each and every one of them for being here. Next slide, please. Those of you with the cords, we'll talk about that. Dr. Mike Stein will be up here in just a few minutes talking about the honors cords. And you see that students graduating with honors, we thank you very much, and we'll congratulate you here in just a few minutes. Next slide, please. Those of you that are in active service right now, our students that are graduating, would you please stand and be recognized? Students. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. If you'd stay standing, for those active and retired veterans, would you please stand and be recognized throughout the audience as well? Service. Thank you very much. I think there's one more slide up there I want to talk about, and that's being a Bearcat. You guys have heard it. Learn, connect, care, practice civility, show pride. These aren't just words. Think about what you've done. Think about the first time you walked under that bell tower and you were thinking about learning, and what does that mean in college? What does it really mean to connect in a deep way? What does it mean to care about each other, no matter our walks of life? What does it mean to practice civility, to actually do it? What does it mean to show pride? Pride in yourself, pride in your family, pride in the paw. That's very personal to all of us at Northwest Missouri State. And as I get ready to introduce our commencement speaker today, Brian Weaver, I think about that, being a Bearcat. And I think you'll hear through our commencement speaker's address, Brian Weaver, that he shows ongoing learning, connecting, caring, practicing civility, and showing pride. Mr. Brian Weaver is a 1995 graduate of Northwest Missouri State University, the CEO of Torch AI, Artificial Intelligence. His nearly 20 years of experience leading mission-driven, high-growth, technology-enabled companies is prolific. Brian's had companies recognized as the Kansas City Small Business of the Year. He's received the Defense Innovation Award in 2017. He was recently featured in Forbes magazine for Torch AI's concepts around data encapsulation using blockchain technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Weaver owns various companies. He's owned companies. You'll hear his story. He has learned and connected and cared and practiced civility and showed pride. He is an entrepreneur, an innovator. Indeed, he's a Bearcat. Please help me welcome Brian Weaver.
I should let you do that a couple more times. It gets better. Thank you very much. Thanks, Dr. Jasinski, the Northwest Leadership Team, Board Chair Dr. Haar on behalf of all the regents and the rest of the platform party. And obviously, as a fellow Bearcat, it is a pretty cool honor to be here with you today. I'm going to start by asking a couple simple questions, and the first one is I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you're kind of feeling last night a little more than normal. And I see there's parents' hands there too. And I should ask about this morning, but I think we'll gloss over that. What about hands about those of you whose parents think you've got an interview on Monday? There's very few hands, but that's because Northwest has got one of the highest job placement records in the state, which is always a good thing. And my last show of hands is how many of you would like me to give the short version of the speech? That's a little stronger response than this morning. Yeah, the word's out. It's okay. My kids said the same thing to me. It's okay. I've been warmed up. So I love Northwest. My life has really sprung from this place in an interesting way. My wife and I have been married for 20 years, and she's a graduate of Northwest. We met in Wells Hall, and I like to joke that we fell in love at the Palms, which is true. When we went to school, it was 25 years ago, but minors were allowed in the Palms, so the romance was a little different. But my two teenage girls, Riley and Avery, are with me today, and it's been fun to take them around the campus. It reminded me of the time that I came as a high school senior. I went to high school in St. Louis, and I came here for the first time, and I was just blown away by the campus. I was instantly smitten. And I think it was a combination of things, that people were friendly, engaged, really smart. And it had this feeling. I think the campus itself, you could put it up against any Ivy League. It had the right feeling that what I thought a great university should be like. And I remember most of graduation myself, and it's a proud day for you, certainly for your families. They've been with you and supported you through this phase of your journey. And today, on reflection and kind of preparing for my talk with you today, I started to kind of reflect, and I realized that I really ought to share these 3 words that I live by. And I realized that at the same time, I'm not the kind of guy that really lives by words, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. And these 3 words are enjoy the journey. And that's been a strong thing for me. And I'm going to share a couple of stories today, and hopefully you'll understand a little bit more about that. So I know I have zero risk. You're not going to remember me or really any word of this speech later. So if my lessons and my stories don't work out for you, you're not going to remember to blame me anyway. So I'm pretty safe. So for most of the decade, I competed very seriously in a sport called Ironman. It's a 140.6-mile race where you swim 2.4 miles in an ocean or a big lake. You then get on a bike in an incredibly uncomfortable position. You ride 112 miles as fast as you can. You change your shoes, and you run 26.2-mile marathon. And I did that pretty well. I went to the World Championships several times. I was ranked #1 in the world as an amateur for a period of time. And I think what I learned, and it's kind of a metaphor for what you're about to experience, and certainly what I've lived professionally, that the only way to do that well, if you're nuts enough to move your body 140 miles in a day, the only way to do that well is to break it down into small steps and focus on the process, not the outcome. Because I can guarantee you, if you walk in and you toe the line with a time in mind, you'll fail every time. But if you just focus on the process, that outcome will take care of itself. So today I spend most of my time as CEO of a company I founded called Torch. And what we do is we provide artificial intelligence to the United States Department of Defense. And we're involved in supporting very important counterintelligence missions to protect our warfighter. And it's something that we take very, very seriously. And I kind of have a joke here that I think my time at Northwest did not corrupt my opportunity of earning my security clearance with the government. Although my parents would probably disagree that my time here might have been a little questionable in moments. But to launch a software company, especially an enterprise software company, it's nearly impossible if you really think about it and think about it logically. And then to think that you're going to sell software to the federal government, that's even harder. And then to imagine that the Department of Defense is going to hire you to solve some really critical missions and challenges that they have, it's even harder than that. Yet we've got this company that's 2 hours down the street in Kansas City, and we've done just that. We've kind of bucked the system, and we've been very successful at doing it. And so a lot of people ask me, what's the secret to that? And what's funny is it's the metaphor of Iron Man, right? You just break it down into small steps. So what we learned was to just take things one step at a time. So for example, when we met with clients, even if it was just a 1-hour meeting, we would prepare for days. This is something that you might take away when you look at interviews or you even start your first job. We would prepare for days. We knew everybody in the room. We knew everything about the organization. We knew what degrees they had, where they went to school, what their interests were, where this parking lot was. We were prepared. And then when we finally got to show them the technology that we had, we would always do it in a way that was relevant to them. We would try and figure out a way to weave our story into theirs so that it made sense to them, it resonated. And that seemed to work. And what we found in that process was we began to love the process of engaging, the process of solving problems like that. So this lesson there, first of my 3 lessons, is focus on process over the outcome, and you'll succeed. So my first job out of Northwest, I had a job offer. It was $19,000 base salary. And within 2 years, I was the top employee in my division, and I was earning 6 figures, and it sort of worked out, and that felt really good. I was really scared as a graduate. I had a lot of friends at Northwest that had actually earned a lot more money with their first job offers, and I felt good because I stuck the course and it worked out. And then I decided I was going to go for this big promotion. I was 23 years old, and I threw my hat in the ring for a big promotion at the home office, and I was passed over for somebody outside the company, and I was hurt. I was frustrated. Then I ended up getting recruited by this Miami-based company, and I ended up within 2 months managing an entire staff that was twice my age, that was spread all over the country, and it was an interesting journey. And then one day, about 1.5 years into that little adventure, Kansas Speedway called me, and they said, "Hey, Brian, we want you to do something special for us. We've got a fan project that's really critical. We think you'd be a good partner. And I had no idea at the time, but they had called everybody in town, and everybody turned them down. But my boss was out of town, so I said, yeah, I'll do it, So it took 6 weeks, and we had a lot of fun. The client was very, very happy with the work. We made good money for our company, but the Miami bosses were not very pleased. And that was a very interesting situation because my boss now is reprimanding me for doing this job that was not aligned with the company. And it took my eyes off of my role as a manager, managing my staff. And so, again, I got reprimanded. And I'm not a big crier. I cried when my kids were born. I cried at some, war movies and stuff like that. But I'm not a big crier, but I have to admit, I had a lump in my throat at the time. And so I was kind of frustrated by that. And so I think the answer was, I went to Kansas Speedway and said, hey, will you guys hire me? And they wanted to, but we couldn't make it work. And the solution ended up being start a company. So I started my first company. I became an entrepreneur. And I did this. I solved this problem that this other company didn't want to mess with. And away it goes. And I became this entrepreneur, and that was the beginning of my journey. And probably one of the best parts of the story, and hopefully one that you'll enjoy, 3 years after I started my first company, I actually acquired that Miami-based company. And the guy that reprimanded me worked for me. And so that's in your life, you get you win a couple, and that's a good one. So the lesson there is it'll work out. But the thing you have to do is you've got to keep moving forward. And as long as you're moving forward, everything will work out. And my third and final little story and lesson is that it's about failure, right? I've had so many failures, I refuse anymore to define that word. And I think it's kind of an interesting thing. So when you think about successes I may have had, notable successes, and I don't really define success either because you can't do both. But when you think about the successes, whether they were launching what became North America's largest motorsports fan marketing business, or when I acquired a healthcare company and grew it 400% in 36 months, when I shut down the plaza and did a big exotic car thing in Kansas City, or I worked with the IRS and some big tax preparation companies to stop fraud, all that stuff, those are all great little highlights, but there's 10 times the number of failures. And so, a guy like me, I know what it's like to be in credit card debt. I know what it's like to lose a job and to get fired. I've had dark moments and these wild ups and downs, but I've always, kind of strived to avoid this idea of failure. And I think I've never run into a dead end. If I think about today, I'm at the highest point in my life. I'm happiest. And I think that'll be true on, next Saturday and the Saturday after that. And if you really evaluate your world, you'll realize that you've never really run into a dead end. And that the reality is that failures are all just adjustments to your path, adjustments to the course. And so again, there's no failure, there's no bad decision. And as long as you keep your eyes on the big picture, you're going to be okay. So again, if I was going to define success, I would define it as only possible with a string of very specific types of failures that led to that. And I think that's kind of an interesting concept, and I hope you take that away. So do your part, take risks, try and stand apart. Most importantly, have no fear. So my lesson here is there's no failure. So my final thought, Bearcats are always successful, and I think this is kind of interesting. You can go forth today with the wisdom that every single person that I know has been successful from Northwest. They've got a great job, happy family. They've got a huge network of friends that they rely on and have relied on for a very long period of time. And while you're proud of your degree and the specialized knowledge that you have, I think one of the things that you can't yet comprehend or appreciate, and maybe you'll have an opportunity to do this like I did and reflect, but you can't yet comprehend or appreciate really what Northwest has brought you because you're looking forward. But when you take a moment and look backwards, you actually realize that Northwest is this anchor. And if you drew a line from Northwest through all of these incredible experiences you've had, you can see the connection, and it's all correlated. So I think Northwest has really done three things specifically for me. Northwest has provided an expectation of just better. You've got when I came here, there were computers in every room. That was the 90s, right? There were computers in every single room. That was a big deal. You guys have free laundry and a Chick-fil-A. And I'm so jealous of the Chick-fil-A, you have no idea. You've got people like Dr. J and his team, and they make sure of that. They're always pushing to improve. There's no stopping. So when you think about Northwest and you observe some of these little features of the school, take that as an example and lean on that in the future, and that'll serve you well. You know, Northwest has provided you with a very safe platform to test who you are and find out, what you want, what you need out of life. And you've got this great environment that's been created by all the people that are sitting next to you, and that's a really unique thing. They helped create this environment that has crystallized what you're really looking for in this next phase of your life. And that is a priceless thing. You know, you're walking out of here completely turned on, and I'm jealous of that. Your eyes are open and your mind is completely engaged. You're a little nervous. I was nervous. You're probably nervous. But you're turned on and you're ready, and I think that's a special thing. So whatever you do, keep pushing and don't let this particular feeling lapse. All right, so I'm done. The morning crowd liked that one too. All right, so this is really the end. I'm going to tell a joke. All right, so here we go. Clint and Chris are out hunting in Nottoway Valley, and they shoot a deer. They start dragging the deer back of the truck by the tail, but they keep slipping and losing their grip and their balance. A farmer comes along and asks them, "What are you boys doing?" And Clint says, "We're dragging this deer back to our truck." The farmer tells them, "You're not supposed to drag a deer by the tail. You're supposed to drag a deer by the handles. They've got antlers. You're supposed to drag a deer by the antlers." Clint and Chris thank the farmer for the idea, and they start pulling the deer by the antlers. And after about 5 minutes, they start making great progress. And Chris says to Clint, "Man, that farmer sure was right. It goes a lot easier by the antlers." And Clint replies, "Yeah, but we're getting farther from the truck." So most people, they try and take the easy way, and they're either grabbing the antlers or grabbing the tail, but I would contend both are sort of missing a bit of the big picture. And I promise that if you prioritize process over outcome, strive to always drive forward, agree that there's no failure, you're guaranteed to enjoy your journey. So thank you, good luck, and sincerely, guys, congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a Bearcat, Brian Weaver again. Thank you, Brian. Enjoy the journey. Your journey is about to begin up on this stage in just a few minutes. I've created a little bit of an expectation, I fear, in the last couple of years. I've brought up our police chief, Clarence Green, to chat with you a little bit. I don't know if I should do that again or not. What do you guys want? You want to talk to Clarence just for a minute? Clarence, are you in the back? I can't even see back there. There he is. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, look who's coming up. It's Dr. Police Chief Clarence Green. So moms and dads, I know you're a little nervous right now because we may call out a daughter or a son and ask them about violations and the police and all of that. We won't call anybody out individually, will we, Clarence?
I just find it funny that you miss a 300 and some pound guy in the back. That's not that funny.
It's pretty funny, actually. So Clarence Green personifies culture at Northwest Missouri State, learning, connecting, caring, practicing civility, showing pride. Got his doctoral degree back in the fall. Pretty good. Our Board of Regents just voted him and approved his Vice Presidency of Culture starting like right now. He's our new VP of Culture, Clarence Green. But, ladies and gentlemen, we do ask you guys a few questions. You want to ask these guys any questions about their time here, Clarence?
I see a few hooligans, but mostly good folks.
They expect the parking ticket questions. Let's do that.
I love those ticket questions. Last time someone asked me what is our favorite part of the day, or what do we love most about Northwest, and I said from UPD, what we love most is when we walk up on a car and we pull that little deal up that's called your windshield wiper and we slide that ticket in there. That's a satisfying feeling.
And Clarence, I see some Maryville High folks here in the second row, first row, third row. I don't want to call them out at all, but get any thoughts about the locals and what they've gone through at Northwest?
Well, one of them, I've tried to pronunciate his name since he was in the 6th grade, and I call him just Sausage, Jacob Sausage, because I can't pronunciate that last name to save my life. Great young man, Brody McMahon, Jack, all of those are great young folks, but I think we have a ton of good students. I think of Orlando Watson. He used to come out to my house and drink tea on Sundays. Cynthia, I got a chance to change her tire on the side of the roadway. And probably one of my favorites, she's going to be staying with us as a grad student, is Macy Williams. She's not only a ginger, but she brings that passion every day.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, last night people asked about Clarence dancing. I admit he's got better dance moves than myself. I'll admit that. But they also asked about a race. Who would win in a race, Dr. Green or Dr. J? Let's see a show of hands. Who do you think would win, Dr. Green? Keep your hands up so I can target. Okay, I know you, I know you. I remember that, I remember that. What about Dr. J? I don't think I've ever stopped a commencement ceremony before, but...
If we were racing from here to here, I'd still win.
It's because he's got a gun and he can trip, so... You watch out on social media. We might do a race at some point here in the next few months. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring Brian Weaver back down off the stage and just ask Brian and Clarence a few quick questions here before we have you guys come up on stage. So if you don't mind, Brian, thank you. I've always been worried about jumping down off that stage and falling. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think about Clarence and what he does for us internally at Northwest Missouri State. I think about, and an alum of Northwest, by the way, I also think about alums out there doing their thing externally. Clarence, as you think about these young men and women coming through here 4 years ago or 5 or 6 or whatever it was for you guys, what's your recollection? How do you feel about them and their growth as they've worked with our incredible faculty and our incredible staff?
I believe your growth has been just outstanding. I know working with you every day, just seeing the way you've challenged all of us to think different, to prepare ourselves different, the way we've restructured our organization just to really meet the needs of you guys. And so I think we applaud you for all of the feedback that you give, because truly it's golden and it helps us improve on what we're doing every day.
And Brian, as I think about the parents out in the crowd and your words of, a focus on the future. Here's our future right here. What would your words be? Obviously enjoy the journey, but as you think about what the workforce out there needs, talk about some of those technology platforms and so on. There's a big need for these ladies and gentlemen out there, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the reality is that technology moves so fast that the key thing that you have that puts you ahead of maybe some of your other peers is that you have resilience. You guys have come here in an environment that's allowed you to test and iterate and adapt. And that's actually a skill, again, you're not going to class for that, but you picked it up along the way. And the key thing for me, especially as we hire people all over the country, is finding people that have resilience and adaptability, because that's a critical skill. And if they don't have an experience like we've had at Northwest, you really may not have the opportunity to earn that. So I think as you think about the value that this place has provided you and how you're going to exercise yourself in the future, I think pay attention to that, because I think as a skill, especially to an employer, it's critical. And again, in an environment like this where you're away from home and you're introduced to other folks and your network has grown, you've been exposed to a lot of different types of people, those are things that you just can't get in an environment that's not like Northwest.
And Clarence, we think about young men like Ryan Evans, and we watch him grow as he comes in as a freshman and so on. But the message to parents out here about their and grandparents and so on, about their loved ones in this crowd growing, what would your message be back to them as what they reflect in the last 4 or 5 years?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I had a graduate this morning, and I've been kind of really personalizing that. Immediately, I think of my daughter got $865 worth of tickets every semester. So that's the first thing I think about is, man.
Paid them, though.
I wish.
You paid them.
Yes, sir. But I think all of us as parents who have graduates today, I think we should reflect back on our folks that are out here that are graduating. I think with joy, admiration. I think all of you are inspirational. I think you're going to go on and do great things. You have a chance to change your whole family and yourselves. All of those things are important for me, and I think important for all of us as parents. Just seeing you take that next step and also getting off the drip of the parents, that's a value also.
That's pretty good. Hey, Brian, to close as we get these guys up on stage here, as you think about us stopping this, them coming up here, taking pictures afterwards, Monday, interviews, or whatever comes of Monday, enjoying the journey, what will that mean for this next week, the following week, et cetera, for them? What's the takeaway for these guys?
Yeah, these next steps, I think it's interesting. I remember, if I reflect back on where you were, literally 20 years ago, almost probably to the day, and I was really afraid, when am I going to get a job? Is it going to be a good job? Who am I going to room with when I move into whatever city I'm moving to? I think the biggest thing about what you're doing in the next, 8, 9 years, this decade of your 20s, is that you're actually building infrastructure that you're going to rely on for your future. And it'll be things like the network of people you have around you today. You'll walk out of this building and you actually have this treasure of this ecosystem around you that if you take care and feed it, it will help you as you go forth. Even if you guys don't follow, the same company or go into the same city, you end up with this infrastructure that you can build from and you can trade on that. So I would say soak up all of this, especially the next couple of years, because the relationships that you develop, you will find that you will trade on that network and those relationships that you have for really the rest of your life, whether it's personal, emotional, intellectual, or even professional.
That's great. Dr. Clarence Green, Brian Weaver, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Clarence. Appreciate it.
I'm now honored to introduce Northwest's Associate Provost of Undergraduate Studies, Dr. Michael Steiner.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to recognize those baccalaureate students graduating with honors. Their names appear in your commencement program beside a single, double, or triple asterisk. Students graduating cum laude are wearing white honor cords. They have earned a grade point average of 3.5 to 3.74, and their names appear beside a single asterisk. Students graduating magna cum laude are wearing green honor cords. They have earned a grade point average of 3.75 to 3.94, and their names appear beside a double asterisk. Students wearing gold honor cords have earned a grade point average of 3.95 to 4.0. Their names appear in the program beside a triple asterisk, and they will graduate summa cum laude. Honors program graduates are noted with a plus symbol. Would all degree candidates wearing, graduating with honors please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, join me in applauding these outstanding students.
Please help me welcome Northwest's Associate Provost of Graduate and Professional Studies, Dr. Gregory Haddock.
Will the candidates for bachelor's degrees please rise? That's you. Good job. Everything's a test. President Jasinski, these candidates, upon my recommendation and on the recommendation of the school directors and faculty from the Melvin D. and Valerie G. Booth School of Business and the School of Health Science and Wellness, are presented to you for conferral of bachelor's degrees. Will these candidates please come forward? And for the comforts of the graduates and viewing pleasure of our guests, candidates, you may sit down until your row is released.
Lindsay K. Smith. Madison Marie Cassava. Cameron Dale Morrison. Peyton Levi Jackson. Addison Riley Pasilia. Ashley R. Hastert. Patricia Ann Crawford. Haley Nicole Tilsworth. Jacob Daniel Hayden. Ernest Dion Scott. Jordan Lawley. Riley Kraus. Kane Nolan Harmon. Keaton Allen Parks. Samuel Alexander Phillips. Keegan Breckenridge Williams. Lisa Marie Lopez. Shelby Christine Massow. Kennedy Lee Fairchild. Olivia Grace Hamilton. Amanda Nicole Faulkner. Alexia Marie Scoggin. Olivia Renee Bolin. Chloe Kennesu Johnson. Caitlin Brooke Sears. Carolyn Elizabeth Johnson. Mackenzie Regan Beadle. Allison Lee Dipple. Maya Grace Rivera. Meredith Michelle Turner. Haley Marie Meyer. Sophia Catherine Palmerin. Katie Jean Opperly. Elizabeth A. Spunagel. Caitlin Drew Peregrine. Kaylee Nicole Sager. Madison Kaylin Baird. Madison Sue Reynolds. Karen Elise Baker. Alec Thomas Hebner. Mackenzie R. Weibel. Emily Dawn Ivory. Kirsten Lee Hill. Kayla Ann Ellis. Peyton Emily McGee. Macy Ann Marie Williams. Alexis K. Mikesel. Jessica A. Cox. Kevin Brody McMahon. Jack A. Macias. Jacob D. Sosick. Kalissa Huff. Morgan Noel Combs. Haley Nicole Hansen. Cody Nicole Strow. Dylan Ray Waite. Alexandria Marie Barnes. Jesse Kaylin Ratliff. Byron Daniel Nelson. Brian Gregory Lowamore. Connor Axel Magnuson. Alec Christian Lanter. Bryce Morris. Ashley Elizabeth Engel. David Carl Mullen. Bailey Mitchell Crampton. Michael Tyler Coleman. Ian Michael Root. Andrew James Hessler. Isaac Jean Bledsoe. Taylor Ann Pieper. Devin Marie Druvengay. Hannah Lynn Lowrance. Hannah Taylor Hennings. Haley Marie Tutorino. Chase Robert White. Austin Ambrose John Eskew. Zachary Calvin Flott. Kevin T. Hanslick. Hunter B. Lambden. Lucas R. Hassman. Mercedes Nicole Hans. Emily Sue Hawkins. Kayla Morgan Kilgore. Anastasia Lynn Peterson. Megan Ashley Horning. Aaliyah Danielle Irvin. Jessica Marie Hattie. Laura Ann Davison. Blair Lene Benshoff. Lucy Ann Comacher. Caroline Chantel Modis. Jacqueline Ann Weidert. Reagan Joe Thompson. Allison K. Dye. Faith McKenna Kossel. Haley Elizabeth Limbeck. Shayla K. Kalhoff. Drake Levi Summers. Maddie Mae Bates. Maggie Suzanne Haberman. Kara Lynn Parman. Justine Marie Bramer. Jordan Michelle Hansen. Alexandria Maria Garcia. Kelly E. Morse. Nathaniel Paul Galbraith. Abigail Marie Limbach. Allison Marie Van Vector. Erica Marie Whitlow. Kylie Marie Jennings. Riley Sue Bremer Gabbert. Bethany A. Christian. Dalton Douglas McGaw. Ashton Lynn Summers. Jessica Lee Duscott. Hannah Jolene Turner. Savannah Rena Ewert. Nobuko Sakamoto. Megan Lene Mueller. Alyssa Tanae Simmons. Kathleen Nicole Quigley. Tanner Payne Lintner. Ryan Lee Evans. Maria Lynn Dentlinger. Mallory Renee McAndrews. Eric William Richard Peterson. Amanda Rose Campbell. Alexander S. Parkins. Taylor Shea Bryan. Sydney Marie Alexander. Megan Elizabeth Swanson. Caitlin Rochelle Thompson. Austin Ray Paling. Chase Michael Hewson. Kobe M. Rourke. Jack Bartley. Lucia Dawn Mann. Kira Elizabeth Hahn. Dulce Isabel Rosas. Thomas Martin Maxwell. Connor Patrick Palin. Garrett Jake Inson. Jack Richard Kamenzend. Dallas Jacob Nelson. Colby Scott Horstman. Blake Douglas Christensen. Harrison Hisley Bolstad. Camden James Nall. Hyunyoung Che. Marciana Joyce Ann Nielsen. Marin Alyssa Payeth. Brittany Ann Kopic. Richard Heath Carlson. Colin Michael Barker. Maria Catherine Mostick. Ryan Edward Soldenels. Ashley K. Bollinger. Paige Nicole Knight. Jordan W. Braun. Dustin Allen Smith. Joseph Durham Knapp. Hayden Bradley Smith. Johnny Lee Goings. Nicola Ann Allen. Wyatt Lane Sharp. Evan James Lindberg. Hadley Clayton Roberts. Joseph Dylan Wright Drabus. Jessica Lynn Farmer. Caitlin May Drebenstedt. Cameron Lee Holtzen. Brianne Renee Connor. Alexandria Lynn Guthrie. Riley Lane Wood. Miranda K. Linehan. Shelby Morgan Trussell. Nicholas Jordan Bonavia. Cheyenne Rachel Frank. Allison Brianne Garrett. Lauren Ray Buck. Tanner Daniel Blakemore. Brett Evan Gardner. Joey Ziegler. Hold on. Just a minute, just a minute. Skylar Morgan Zimmerman. Devin Roselle. William Trent Sluter. Jacob Wayne Keimig. Chulho Yoon. Alexa Renee Mack. Lisa Sabrina Orr. Sasha Lene Quarles. Adrian Anye Bateman. Bonnie Joy Erickson. Courtney Michelle Neal. Katie Michelle Ackley. Sydney Adele Morrow. Caitlin M. McElvavy. Clint Allen Mullen. Chelsea Ray Dukes. Justin Michael Hall. Madison Lynn Rieger. Haley Olivia Porter. Addison Lee Feeney. Cora Faye Ezel. Kirsten Lynn Johnson. Samantha P. Backus. Brianne Louise Cook. Dylan Ashton James Richardson. Allison Jean Martin. Rebecca Suzanne Phillips. Brianna Dawn Russell. Bridget Colleen Schneider. Alan Joseph Hinson. Vanessa Elaine Groves. Jordan R. Wood Harris. Arlando Danielle Watson. Cynthia Marie Williams Marshall. Siobhan Barnes. Michaela G. Graham. Alicia Monet Johnson. Christian Noel Nivens. Kenya Ayana Marie Turner. Danielle D. Rivera. Jamal Suleiman Brazil. Dwayne Andre Bly. Delon Jaron Walton.
Well, we'll pause for a moment, get our breaths, and take some pictures, then we'll come back and confer your degrees. Give me a second. Just about in closure mode, but this is the most important part of the ceremony. We need to confer your degrees so they're, authentic here. Will the candidates for bachelor's degree please stand? By the authority vested in me by the state of Missouri and our own Board of Regents, I confer upon you, subject to completion of all requirements, as certified by our registrar, the bachelor's degree, and admit you to the fellowship of educated men and women with all its rights, honors, privileges, and obligations. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me congratulate these new graduates as they move their tassels. You are now Northwest Missouri State University Bearcat graduates, which means you are now alumni. Allison Kreipels is a 2006-2011 graduate of Northwest. Let's give her and Bobby Bearcat a big round of applause. Allison will bring you, our newest alumni, a message from the Northwest Alumni Association. Bobby and Allison, come on up.
You guys can have a seat. I promise this will be short, though. I know you're excited. Northwest graduates, congratulations. My name is Allison Kreifels, and I'm a proud alum of Northwest Missouri State University. It is my honor to officially welcome you to a new family that is the Northwest Alumni Association family. The Bearcat family is over 70,000 strong, each sharing the common bond of being a passionate and loyal Bearcat. I would like to ask all Northwest alumni in the audience to please stand to be recognized by these, our newest members of our group. Graduates, starting today, you are now part of a family that can support you, can grow with you, and connect you with amazing opportunities in the future. You may be wondering, I've been a Bearcat, now how do I be a Bearcat alum? So here are a few suggestions. Number one, promote Northwest by wearing your Northwest gear and by showing your Northwest decal that you'll receive today when you return your gown. Number two, mentor Bearcats who are still here by informing them of internships and employment opportunities in your respective fields. And number three, connect with Northwest alumni by attending alumni events hosted by one of our 21 chapters around the world. You can find a listing of these chapters in your commencement program. And don't forget to keep the Alumni Association updated on your successes and accomplishments. Once again, congratulations on a job well done. And always remember, wherever you go or whatever you do, the Northwest Alumni Association will be here to keep you connected to your Northwest family. And always remember, once a Bearcat, always a Bearcat. Congratulations.
Just a couple announcements before we wrap things up. Please make sure, graduates, to arrange a meeting place after the ceremony if you've not already done so, as your family members will not have access to the rec center or arena after the ceremony. Also, don't forget to return your gown within 45 minutes to the Student Rec Center following the recessional. Congratulations, graduates, and thank you, guests, for your attendance today. As we near the end of this ceremony, we welcome you to join Miss Elizabeth Geyer to sing the Northwest alma mater loud and proud to celebrate you being new Northwest alumni, the lyrics of which are in the back of your commencement program. So please stand as you're able to and join in singing the Northwest alma mater, and continue standing after for the closing remarks from President Jasinski.
Let your voices loudly ringing echo far and near. Songs of praise thy children singing to thy memory dear. Alma mater, tender, fair, and true. Grateful ones with love unfailing, all their vows renewed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached a significant milestone celebrating the class of 2019, the spring class. Thanks again to Elizabeth. Please allow me just a moment to thank our color guard, our musicians, our faculty marshals, our banner carriers, the staff from Show Me Presentations, our marketing communications team, and Allison Kreifels as well, our University Police Department, our MC, Dr. Matt Walker, and our commencement coordinator, Jordan Greenhaw. Jordan's first commencement ever, and she pulled it off, did she not? Graduates, you've turned your tassels, you received your diplomas, you are now proud of that Northwest family, the Northwest alumni, who are so strong and proud, and we thank you very much. We want you to stay connected. As we conclude, we'd ask everybody to kind of stay where you are, let the platform party proceed down along with the faculty and staff, and then we'll go ahead and celebrate from there. On behalf of my wife, Denise, along with all of us at Northwest, let me say how proud we are of each and every one of you Go forth and lead the Bearcat way, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations.